All right, so if you're just joining us, you're like, why is there not a United States flag right there? Well, we know that the Polish leader is on the way to meet President Trump, but just like highlighting the fact that, it is really that free world taking on, tyrannical maybe leaders and that kind of thing out there in the world. But we know in this case, President Nawrocki of Poland on the side of freedom, on the side of the people, a huge supporter of President Trump. So it'll be great to have the two meet. And then we're going to see that meeting here in a little bit. And then we'll see the reporters' questions and hear what they have to say. A lot of fake news, of course, there, but, some conservative media, which is always good to see as well. In the meantime, as we wait that live feed from the South Portico of the White House, let's go to All Family Pharmacy, great sponsor here. Unfortunately, though, flu season's here, and the best time to prepare is in case or before you get sick. So that's why families across the country are turning to All Family Pharmacy, where you can stock up now and get everything your family needs to have on hand. From essential medications like ivermectin, antibiotics, antivirals, to emergency kits and daily maintenance medications. They have it all. And now you can even get cutting-edge biohacking products like NAD+ and methylene blue, GLP-1, which is a weight loss medication, all in one place. Telling you here, they've built a full lineup to help you prepare for anything.
It's time for us to see beyond the curtain. Why was Jeffrey Epstein so protected? Who is still being protected? And who protected them all, so the world can understand how Jeffrey was able to abuse so many of us for so long. I was lucky to have Brad Edwards, Brittany Henderson, and Paul Cassell take on my case pro bono and fight fearlessly over 20 years' time. I would like to thank them, and I'd also like to ask the Trump administration to please sign off on the Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act, the Courtney Wild Crime Victims' Rights Reformed Act that's we're trying to get passed here, so we can close the loopholes in the CVRA case that Epstein's attorney used to their benefit to get away with this. Thank you so much.
Good morning. First and foremost, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to Brad and Brittany Edwards, Congressman Massey and Kana, and above all, the brave survivors who have entrusted us with the privilege of speaking today on behalf of Virginia. Robert Giuffre, as her family. We are here today because we support H.Res. 581, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, in its entirety. But as much as this bill is about shining a light on truth, it's not just about the bill. This is about justice. This is about survivors. This is about justice against the rich and powerful who have stolen something from these women and many children at the time, their freedom. The freedom to live their life without mental and physical scars that have been inflicted upon them by those who thought they were untouchable. The same freedom that these monsters took from these survivors, they should never be afforded. They should never be allowed to continue their lives with impunity. Let's be clear, this is not a political issue. This is not about left or right. This is about humanity. This is about doing what's right. And this is about ensuring that the future we leave behind isn't one where the powerful can hide behind their wealth, their influence, and their money to evade justice. Our plea to you, whether you're a dad, a mom, a brother.
Over the weekend, I was like, all right, let's go to it. Let's check it out. And then it turned into that like mini rally feel. And it was fun to do some interviews, get some videos, that kind of thing. We're going to put together a longer form video in a minute. But I do want to introduce you to the owner. If you didn't watch in the first hour, if you're just joining us as we're awaiting the president, Haley Mercer is holding it down there at the Bean on 41 Coffee Shop in Punta Gorda. Take a look. Clip 14.
I could not live without them, and not at this point. I have given everything I have to keep this place open so that we can...
But here's my one ask. Look these survivors in the eye and tell them why. Then, look the people of the United States in the eye and tell them why. And then, when you're alone, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself why. Virginia said it best, and I quote, "I have physical and mental scars that will never heal. I have memories that will never go away. They say time can heal, but this won't. Not until the justice system makes an example out of these people with so-called privileges. I just call it money. The only time I can begin to heal is when their freedom is taken from them, just like they did to me and literally thousands of other victims. The survivors of this horrific abuse are watching. The American people are watching. And history is watching. Which side will you be on?" Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jenna Lisa Jones, and I was only 14 years old when my friend brought me over to Jeffrey Epstein's house in Palm Beach in 2003. I had a terrible home life, but I was such an innocent kid then. I always did my best in school, and I had such a positive outlook on life. Until that day that I met Jeffrey, I have never been more scared in my life than I was that first time that he hurt me. I remember crying the entire way home, thinking about how I couldn't ever tell anyone about what actually happened in that house. This guy was so rich and had so many pictures with so many famous people, and no one would have ever believed me if I told them. I want to thank Congressman Rowe and Congressman Thomas Massey for having me here today. It was really hard for me to find my voice and to become strong enough to speak about my abuse. I didn't come forward until 2019, and even then it was like I was afraid of a ghost. I know that I was just a little kid, but sometimes I still feel like it is my fault that this happened. Being given the opportunity to speak at the United States Capitol building about something that is so important, not just to me and the women before you, but to the entire country. Together, we can finally make a change. And that is thanks to the people like these two congressmen and their teams who actually care about the victims. If you are a member of Congress and you are listening to all of us speak here today, please really listen to us. Please vote for this bill to be passed. Please recognize how important it is for transparency relating to Jeffrey Epstein. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, this does not matter. This is not about sides. You are an American, and you are a person who has chosen to serve in an elected position to stand up for those you represent who cannot always stand up for themselves. We are those people. We are the Americans that you promised to protect. And we need your help. Please, President Trump, pass this bill and help us. Make us feel like our voices are finally being heard. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley Robson. I was a 16-year-old high school student athlete who made good grades and had high aspirations for college when I was recruited and asked by a classmate of mine alongside with a 20-year-old male if I wanted to give an old rich guy a massage. But what high school girl would not want to do that? That day changed my life forever. And when I got into the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein undressed and asked me to do things to him. My eyes welled up with tears, and I have never been more scared in my life. When it was over, he paid me $200 and requested in exchange that I bring a girl each time to make another $200. I told him I did not want to do that, and then he gave me an ultimatum. Either you come here and massage me when I call you, or you bring me friends of yours to massage, and I will give you $200 per girl for each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go. I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I did not want to be sexually abused. I'm sorry. I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time it would be the last time. One day, the stepmom of one of the girls brought him and called the police on Jeffrey Epstein. The police then called me in for questioning. I had told them the truth despite the fact that I was a teenager and a minor, and I was able to tell the police the names of all the other victims. The police treated me like a criminal. I had, by this time, had turned 18. I had been with Jeffrey since I was 16 and for 2 years. So they had told me So they told me I was going to be arrested. My name was then distributed to the press as a co-conspirator of my abuser, who I detested. My entire world was crashing in around me, and I started being threatened and bullied, till this day still receiving death threats. I was singled out and for many years had to suffer a smear campaign of lies about me because of the way that I was portrayed by the press. The press made me out to be a predator when I was just a 16-year-old little girl who was sexually abused by a powerful man and an evil man. For years, I had no friends. My boyfriend was murdered, and there was nowhere to turn. The government, after investigating more, learned that I was true a victim, but the damage was done and it was too late. There was no way to undo the harm the press had caused me. In 2019, I met Brad Edwards and Brittany Henderson. They changed my life and they believed in me and have helped me to finally heal. Healing is a process, and I may never get there. But the passage of this bill requiring the government to produce all the evidence that it has gathered on Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell is a huge component of healing for me and for the many other women who have suffered for so long. For many reasons. First, we and the rest of the world need answers. Why was he so protected? And why didn't anyone ever care to stop him? It doesn't take a brain surgeon to know that if he is spending thousands of dollars a day paying high school girls he abuses and had a lot of access to cash. I learned through my attorneys in the JP Morgan class action case that there were years when his staff withdrew over $1 million in cash a year. Was that not a big enough red flag? There were wire transfers to other victims, and the government did not protect us. The banks did not protect us. So lift the curtain on these files and be transparent. Every single time a new conspiracy gets circulated in the media, whether he is still alive, what powerful person had him murdered, who was on the Epstein client list, and there are names going around on TikTok and Instagram, we, the survivors, are suffering severely. We take our kids to school and everyone is talking about it. We can't read the news or do anything without hearing crazy stories that are only able to live on because the government continues to hide the evidence and the truth. So people just make up stories. Those stories hurt. They hurt real people who have already been hurt. And we have lost so many Epstein victims to suicide, and maintaining the real truth in secrecy only allows for conspiracy theorists to tell lies that drives up our anxiety and fears and will continue to lead to more pain, more suffering, and honestly, more deaths of innocent victims.
Well,
it's time
highly supported in Poland by the Polish people because he is someone that's on the right side of history. So when they say make Poland great again, they're falling right in line with freedom for their country, just like we want freedom for ours. So make America great again, make Poland great again. Hopefully make the world great. But I know that's can be just a dream there when it comes to some of the leaders that are out there in the world. All right, so it's 11:17. Let's do this. Within the 24/7 news cycle, I was speaking about Huntsville, Alabama. Let's go to clip 4. The U.S. Space Command is going to Huntsville. And again, as my director told me earlier, and I did hear about this before, but he reminded me of it, there's a AAA baseball team, and it's called Rocket City Trash Pandas in Huntsville. The Trash Pandas, because the people wanted that as the name.
Stanowisko polityczne Donalda Tuska.
But he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet, he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
Hello, my name is Shantae Davies, and I'm here before you today as a survivor of decades of pain, the trauma, and betrayal at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and the people who enabled them, and a government that for far too long refused to help. In 2002, I was living in California, a young woman with high aspirations of becoming an actress. I was already beginning to make a name for myself in the industry. A person I trusted, someone I thought was a friend, invited me to meet a powerful woman who could help advance my career. That woman happened to be Ghislaine Maxwell. I was asked to give her a massage, though I had almost no experience, and when I did, she praised me and promised introductions to someone enormously powerful, someone who could change the course of my life, and that man was Jeffrey Epstein. At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. But one thing is certain, unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again. There are files, government files, that hold the truth about Epstein, who he knew, who owed him, who protected him, and why he was allowed to operate for so long without consequence. Why was Maxwell the only one held accountable when so many others played a role? Why does the government hide this information from the public? This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And as long as the truth is buried, justice will remain out of reach. That is why this bill matters. Passing it will, bless you, ensure that the suffering of survivors is not in vain. Passing it will bring accountability, transparency, and prevention. It will help protect the next generation of predators who seek to place themselves above the law through wealth, influence, and connections. This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about the families broken and the futures stolen. So I ask you, President Trump and members of Congress, why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? Who are we covering for? Let the public know the truth. We cannot heal without justice. We cannot protect the future if we refuse to confront the past. Thank you.
Let's just give a round of applause for all the courage and strength that the survivors have shown. We now will take a few questions. You can always get Congressman Massey, me, or Congresswoman Green in the hallways and other places. If you have questions for us, that's fine. But I wanted to see first if you have questions for the lawyers and the survivors, and Brad will facilitate any of the questions to the survivors. Yes?
Yeah. This question would be for the survivors, Mr. Edwards. The president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
Oh, I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot, and it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us. I would like Donald J. Trump and every person in America and around the world to humanize us, to see us for who we are and to hear us for what we have to say. There is no hoax. The abuse was real. Now, what goes on behind closed doors, I can't speak for that. What happens around the world politically, I cannot speak for that. But I am here with all of these women, including our attorneys, and I would be more than happy to meet with him, and I will meet him halfway.
Ms. Edwards, I wonder if any of the victims could respond to the news from recently about Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred to a lower security prison in the aftermath of speaking to Todd Blanche.
You want that one?
About her transfer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to speak to that. We were horrified to learn that she had been transferred to a prison camp. She is someone who was found guilty by a jury of sex trafficking. She not only, we often hear that she procured women for Jeffrey, which I think is a very...
Rzeczą jest wojna.
Ready close, ready shut, ready face, forward march.
Like a holiday.
Bo to będzie
President Trump, why not slap additional sanctions on Russia, sir? Why not do that now?
There you go. That's pretty awesome stuff. You know, it's the bottom of the hour, 11:29, almost 11:30 on the East Coast, 8:30 out there on the West Coast. Thanks so much for watching in the Mountain Time Zone, Central Time Zone. Pretty cool stuff. Don't we have the best president in our lifetimes? President Donald Trump, a flyover with the great leader of Poland. And I say the great leader of Poland because if you look at the interaction between the president and President Nawrocki of Poland, you can see there is a mutual respect and support there. And the reason that is, if you've studied any of it or just monitored the news, I know I'm a news nerd, so I do check out this stuff. But, you know, in Poland, this is all about make Poland great again as well. You know, the people of Poland are supporters that voted for Nawrocki are supporters of President Trump. President Trump is a supporter of the Polish leader. I get happy and excited about it because I'm thinking about the fact that this is about the free world, you know, and on the left-wing media, they hate this stuff. Ugh, they don't like it. They're like, oh, patriotism, freedom, ugh. Well, you know what? Who cares about what they say? Because what we say is we're going to pray, we're going to work hard, we're going to vote, we're going to win those midterms. We're going to clean up this country. We're seeing it happen with the National Guard. The National Guard needs to be in every big city in America. Let's be straight up, all right? You want to do the tell it like it is flow? There it is, right? So how awesome was that to see the flyover there? I was wondering why the South Portico was the spot where the world leader was going to show up today, because usually it's on that screen down to the right where the West Wing is. Usually they just pull up, he comes out and waves, a couple questions from the press, they go in, it's the Oval Office. We've seen that before, but today, this is why the flyover happened, as I'm just watching it live with you, is because President Trump supports and likes this guy. He says this is one of the right people, the right side of history types. And so that's why I believe that just happened there in front of all of us. We didn't know that was going to happen, a flyover. I knew it was the South Portico, because it says that on the president's public schedule that we in the media get. But really, the only percentage of media that cares about our country is maybe 3%, maybe 5%. A lot of great conservative outlets out there, including right here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. The rest of them, they're all just carrying water for the Democrats. Boo, lame, boring, nothing that we want to see. We want to see the news that matters to us. We want to see common sense reporting. We want to see the president when he's speaking or when he's greeting world leaders. And we want to have commentary that is on the right side of history. That is the basic common sense stuff that's out there. And everything that I just said there, is it eloquent and perfect? No. Am I reading from a teleprompter? Nope. Do I care? Maybe. I got to get better in some ways. We all know that. But the point is, I just love our country just like you do. And we love to see President Trump lead the way. And we want to see the 20 core promises fulfilled. We want to see the whole Epstein situation be taken care of, the releasing of files. We want to see those that broke the law held accountable. We want to see all of that. On this September 3rd, 2025, I know I've said it a few times. I'll just say it one more time. This is my 3rd year anniversary today at Right Side.